Thank you for that, Will. We apologize here. A lot of technical issues up here in the booth, but we are now live here on Wisco Radio. 4:15 remaining in the first quarter. Mount Horeb up 15-0. Started off with a Winston 2-yard rushing touchdown. And then a 2-point conversion, which put them at 8. And then shout out to Tyler Anderson, too, by the way, for the game recap. Dan, did you happen to see what it was or no? On offense. And we'll update you with that official second score. Vikings come out here on their own 30-yard line. Hagelin in the gun. He'll hand it off to Winston. Winston makes a guy miss. Gets a good block from Olinger. Winston cuts it outside. Winston back up the middle. Excuse me. Charlie Fish in at running back. I apologize for that. That looked like a 6 from all the way up here. That's the sophomore carry. Vikings going with the split back formation alongside Hagelin. Couldn't look like he was handing off to Winston there. This time, Hagelin quick to the gun, puts Fish in motion. First down. We do not have official word on what the other touchdown was here in the first quarter. As I mentioned, Vikings up 15-0 over the Portage Warriors. However, we do believe it was a passing touchdown from Hagelin. Hagelin, same set with Fish and Winston in the backfield. Sends Fish out in motion. Will throw a swing pass, thrown over his head. A forward pass. Fish unable to bring it in. That was not a first down last play. It'll bring up 3rd and 1. Still working on getting our live stream up here on Wisco Radio. As I mentioned, some technical difficulties, so we're happy to have the Wisco Radio app up and going. 3rd and short for the Vikings on the 35-yard line. Winston's got plenty enough for the first down and more. Take it around the 20-yard line for a Viking first down. Chilly night here in Portage, Wisconsin. I'm Kay Johnson. Will Harrelson will be on short. He's helping us with the technical side of things along with Dan Linz. We'll see, as I mentioned, if we can get our YouTube live stream up. Hagelin this time in the gun with Winston as the lone running back to his left. We'll hand it off to Winston here. Vikings now inside the red zone. Not sure where my partner Will went. Probably on the phone, getting some technical things worked out. Try to get everything running smoothly up here. Hagelin with Winston set out to his right. This time looking for a pass. Got Charlie Fish on a slant route. Reaches out for the lane and will be marked just short. Fish with a headsy play, reaching out for the end zone. Unable to get it. And the Vikings will have it 1st and goal on the 1-yard line. The split backs are Fish and Winston. This time handoff to Fish, heading up the middle, lowering his shoulder, and stuffed. Fish unable to get it into the end zone. No loss or gain on the play. 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. Vikings looking to add to their lead here early in this one. Hagelin coming off 2 nice performances. This time hands it off to Winston for the Vikings. Touched nothing with 1:38 left in the first quarter. Another Malik Winston touchdown. That's his 2nd on the night. And he's got to be around, I believe, 13 on the season. Pertasati now to attempt the extra point. And it will be through. 22-0 is your score. 1:38 left in the first quarter. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Here's a short word from our sponsors. Welcome. Welcome. Testing, testing. Apologies for that. There we go. Welcome back to Wisco Radio. Had a quick screen pass to Kruba, who was tackled inside the 10-yard line. Apologies for the defender. Into the end zone. Touchdown. The junior Winston, his third of the night. Another solid start from the junior tailback. Touchdowns. Only 12 minutes and 48 seconds into the game. Vikings now lead 28-0. And it's been a quick start once again for Coach Kleppe and team. Pertisati to add to this Vikings lead with a PAT. Snap from Classy. Hold from Gassman. Kick is up end over end and through the uprights. Vikings extend their lead 29-0, 11-22 left in the first half. Vikings up big. You've been listening to Wisco.
we'll see if Coach Kleppe will go for it right now.
Apologies if there's no sound coming in on the Wisco Radio live video. Forgot to hit a button with all the scrambling. Vikings lining up to go for it. Hagelin dropping back, looking, comeback route, Kruba, touchdown, Hagelin. 10-yard pass, senior to senior. And the Vikings up 35-0. 10 minutes still left in the first half. Performance early in this one. In Portage, Wisconsin. No bleachers on the far side, so Mount Horeb fans having to fill in on our side of the field. However, lots of orange out here for Portage's homecoming night. Vikings looking like they're going to spoil it the way this one's going.
Absolutely. They've been clicking on offense so far in this half, and now they're up to the 35-point thing, so it means that clock is running no matter what right now, and that's a good thing that Coach Kleppe usually likes to get the clock down and make the game as short as he possibly can so he can get his team that long ride home. But so far, just a great job offensively and defensively. They forced that fumble, which eventually set up that touchdown. Portage hasn't taken many downfield shots right now, and with that secondary, maybe that's caused a little, I don't want to say fear, but their QB's arm.
Yeah, Isaacson, knowing more of a running quarterback here for this Portage team. And, of course, if I see top 15 defensive back Travis Classy, 5 interceptions on the season, I'm not throwing it his way either. Perdisati puts the ball on the tee and gets his team set. A line drive, end-over-end kickoff, bouncing into the end zone for a touchback. As we mentioned, Vikings up 36-0. We'll see running clock. Defense able to get a stop. They may be able to punch it in one more time, and it could be a quick second half.
And that's what Coach Kleppe likes to do, is he likes to get a comfortable lead so he can give his second-string players a little play. What Coach Kleppe conjures up.
Isaacson, receiver split out to each side. Tailback in motion. We'll toss it to him on the power option. That's number 22, Ryan Schultz. Loss of 1. Add another tackle for loss to this Vikings defensive total. Second and long. And the Vikings continuing their dominance.
Yeah, in a winning position, or a leading position, I should say.
And little miscommunication there as Isaacson will just take the sack. The Hulk, Scott Hall, coming from his inside linebacker position, completely healthy now. And, of course, plays and back to the form we saw him last season.
I'd say that's a pretty accurate nickname you give him there. Whenever the offense on the other team snaps the ball, he tries to crash through there like the Hulk would.
Yeah, shout out to Bryce Hopwood, my former colleague, for that nickname. Big loss here for Portage. Did not see where the ball went. Might have been a bad snap. Isaacson was the one who ended up with the ball at the end of the play. 4th and very long.
What do you think,
the Warriors?
You think they're going to go for it, Kate?
Not on their own 12-yard line.
Hey, you never know, man. You never know.
Suppose you don't even.
It's high school football. You
don't have to watch for the fake even here, I'd say.
Expect the unexpected.
Back to return Lee. He'll look to do what he did on the last one. Punt. Lee comes up, fields it at his own, left outside. He's at the 40, 30, 20. Got a burst of speed. 10-5. Flag again thrown at the end of the play. Lee had the touchdown. And Coach Kleppe not happy about that. It is.
Like I said, it's just today has been absolutely penalty filled for the Vikings. Just absolutely unusual, and Coach Kleppe not happy with that. Obviously not happy with the call, but knows that his players can play without having to have an illegal block. So we'll see if they can bounce back and put it another score in before halftime.
Vikings will come out on their own, Portage 21-yard line. Not sure it was necessary for the touchdown. Didn't look like it, but of course, that's on the far side. Hand off to Winston, heading right. Winston's got a big seam, bounces it inside, carries defenders into the end zone. Fourth touchdown of the night for the junior. Viking touchdown. I was thinking Winston was going to get in the last position. They went with the pass on fourth down. And another 3-touchdown game for the junior standout running back. As I mentioned, coming into this one, ranked in the top 20 for both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns.
And I wonder how many times we've said that this season, Winston having a multiple touchdown game, even a 3-touchdown game, is becoming normal for him.
Extra point good by Pertisati. I believe he's only missed one on the kick. I think he's had 1 or 2 blocked or a bad snap. So almost perfect there, and that's about all you can ask from your sophomore kicker. Continuing to build upon their lead, 43-0. I think we'll keep it here. You know, Will, we missed, the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, and the Vikings were already up big when we got on air, and they've doubled that score since then. I mean, what can you say about this offense?
Well, they've been absolutely lights out. Just, I would say, mauling the Portage defense, especially with Hageland and his arm, and Winston with his tough running that he has. So we'll see what Coach Kleppe can do with. He has 7 minutes and 49 seconds to work with and a running clock. Maybe he could ball back and put it back in and stretch the lead even more. So I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, outs and forcing turnovers and then punching in right away. Pertisati, the kickoff. Fielded this time by the senior, number 34, who will bounce it outside. He's got a small hole, cuts it back, still on his feet. Fans cheering. I think he'll be caught. And stiff arms the defender, heading out of bounds. Got that to the 40-yard line. Some pushing and shoving here. A little late pushing there from the Portage sideline. Flag thrown, not sure who it'll be on. Solid return, though, for Deladno Shepherd. Got it out to the 40-yard line. Officials discussing. Will, who do you think this one's going to be on?
To be honest, I didn't see it. Probably you did, but just as of right now, if it's going to be something, I would say it'll probably be against Portage with an illegal block. But it might have been a defensive holding against Mount Horeb. We'll never know. We'll get the call here.
Whatever it was, something from the Mount Horeb drew an action of the Warriors. Personal foul is the call on Mount Horeb Barneveld. Obviously, that's something, if you're Coach Kleppe and crew, you can't see, but you're going to go back and look at the film. Camera will tell a tale on that one. Obviously, if you're the coach, can never be happy with the personal foul, but whatever it was, drew a reaction from the Portage sideline.
And that it's not just me being a Mount Horeb fan. I see
Portage, for the first time in Mount Horeb Barneveld territory, starting in Mount Horeb Barneveld territory. Officials still conferring, and now they'll blow this one. Ready to play. Pistol formation for Isaacson. In motion, play action. This one is intercepted. Classy. Wow. What a play.
And I'm not sure if you guys will believe me, but I was thinking it'll be about time that this defensive secondary gets interception there and look to be what my amazing mind conjured up.
Wow. And teen defensive back, according to WisSports.net, in Wisconsin, made a perfect read on the curl route, picks it off. Vikings back on offense. Hand off to Winston heading right. Winston's got a few blocks, gets the blocks from his receiver, carrying some Portage defenders across midfield, past the 45 into Warrior territory for a Viking first down.
And this is where Mount Horeb is at its highest damage point, I would say. Now, I don't know if that's a correct term to say, but whenever they're in the lead and they're comfortable in the lead, they just step on the gas pedal.
Quick to the line is the Vikings. Wide open Krubot on the sideline. No one on him. He's at the 30, 20, 10. Touchdown. Another touchdown. Hagelin to Krubot. A little bit of miscommunication by the Portage defense. Or was that Steinhoff? Yeah.
Krubot.
Tyler Krubot, second on the night. Good to see him playing in this one. Suffered a rib injury during the homecoming game. Looked to be in quite a bit of pain, but back and making an impact in this one. Vikings up 49-0 pending the extra point. It's been a defensive and offensive clinic for this Vikings football team. Extra point is good. Vikings up 50-0 here. Still 7 minutes left in the first half. This time we will hear a word from our sponsors. Got to catch my breath. Vikings quick to score on back-to-back-to-back drives. You've been listening to Wisco Radio.
Job by Lee, originally muffing the punt, not taking his eye off it, getting back on that ball and taking it down the field. Now we'll see if Coach Kleppe, it appears to be that he'll keep his starters, and like you said, Kay, trying to finish out the first half with your first stringers. And I do like that. Get him some reps, get him some game time.
Once again, audio was not feeding to the video live stream if you're watching that on YouTube.com. If you're listening on the app, you've been with us the entire time. And it's been an exciting first half. That one handoff to Winston for a gain of 2. Vikings probably going to use as much time as they can here and get into halftime with a solid lead. We'll get off to Winston. Winston's got a good block, good seal there from Steinhoff. Winston past the 40-yard line. MHB tackle by the quarterback, Isaacson. That's not something you see too often.
And that's a questionable thing, I would say, for Portage. If he's your starting QB, why would you have him potentially putting himself up to injury?
Winston will get it again. Winston's got a big hole. Good seal by Williams on the left edge. And Winston will pick up the first down. Yeah, Will, you mentioned that. Isaacson was the guy who came up and made the tackle on the last play. But if you're a Portage fan and you see 200-pound Malik Winston lower his shoulder into your quarterback, that might be a little bit scary.
I'm sure I would shiver if I were a Portage fan.
Handoff. Read option, quarterback keeper. Hagelin tries to make a spin move. Swarmed by the Portage defense.
Absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal not handing off to Winston. Sniffensive out right away. And only got about a yard, maybe not even anything, but good job not taking the loss there and handing it off to Winston.
Hagelin, hand off to Winston on the dive play. Winston hurdling a few defenders, makes a spin move inside, still on his feet. Takes a hit at the end of the play, but not after a Viking first down.
On this drive, you can't say anything else, but the offensive line has been doing amazing right now, giving Winston those blocks and getting downfield, allowing him to chop off these big gainers.
Winston getting through the hole between Ignatius and Post. Get off to Winston again. Pick up a 4. Winston's seen a heavy workload here early in this one.
And like you said, Coach Kleppe just trying to run down the clock, take it to the house maybe one more time.
Checking in at tight end is the inside linebacker, Scott Hall. And in motion is Lee. Play action. Hagelin actually read option. Will keep it himself on the veer play. Tries cutting it back. Nothing doing there. Tackled down by number 73, Sam Bleach, the junior. I like the play call. Haven't seen that too many times. The inverted veer.
I like the play call, just like you said, and we know that Hagelin defensives have to respect that Hagelin can run the ball.
Kelscher now into the backfield, handing off to him up the middle. The senior lowers his shoulder. 4th down. And a Kleppe and offensive coordinator Chris Ballbach. The two lining up.
It's interesting to see here. We know Chris Pertusati has a amazing leg, but can he drill I would say a deep, I don't know how long, I'll just say it's a deep field goal.
Vikings lining up to go for it. Slant pass intended for Lee. Incomplete. And turnover on downs for the Vikings. Solid stand there after the Vikings drive got going a little bit. Great stand by the Portage defense.
Yes, it was. And it's really, you got to give this Portage defense a little respect. From the past couple games, they've played pretty well, but today, going against this high-powered Mount Horeb offense, and then a running back in Winston, they tend to gash anybody they'll play.
Now, in at quarterback is number 2, Brett Walker, a little person change. the sophomore. And Portage will take a timeout. Take a timeout as well and hear from our wonderful sponsors. You've been listening to Wisco Radio. Kay Johnson, Will Harrelson. We'll be right back. Welcome back here to Wisco. Mount Horeb Barneveld up big, 50-0 here in their performance in the Portage band and formation live stream, as I believe there'll be a little bit of a fireworks show here at halftime during the band performance.
I'm always good. I'm always one who enjoys a little fireworks show, so don't making fun of me. I just get excited over the little things, and that's what's about life. You enjoy the little things.
Yeah, as we mentioned, the Vikings, you mentioned the little things. Vikings doing big things here in the first half. Winston, 3 touchdowns on the night, and we've seen in this game.
And just like you said, and then one interesting thing that we don't usually say, and I've said throughout this half, is Mount Horeb doesn't usually get penalized like they did today, and most of them have been on, the killers have been really when Caden Lee is close to taking into the end zone. That one time that he did, and that one time where he came up just short, but it's just really unusual, like what I said earlier in the podcast, that Coach Kleppe told me that the main goal this year was to be penalized the least amount as possible, but second half.
Yeah, you mentioned penalty plays. We've seen that a few times this year from this Viking season, maybe a block in the back or hold that negates a touchdown, and they could be up. Actually, that wouldn't have made a difference because the Vikings score on those drives, but could have a few more return touchdowns.
And that's what I like about exactly what you just said. It doesn't matter that they score penalized, but they can overcome adversity. Like, they can overcome a big penalty. They can overcome maybe. One of the things I've said all season is that they can overcome.
A solid game from this Vikings defense as well. Travis Classy adding to his interception total on the year. His 6th interception, made a great read coming up from his safety position. Portage receiver ran a curl route. Classy stepping in, intercept. And, you know, this is just a Vikings defense that's going to be dominant all the way.
They're going to find a way. There was Classy's interception. I mean, the quarterback thought he had something there, but Classy.
Time in the Wanakee game, Wanakee tried running a bubble screen. Classy having none of that, intercepted that, got the Vikings a little spark and momentum. Fortunately, unable to come away with the victory there. And this one, as the Portage band and dance team starts their performance. Here in Portage, we have the referees. And the fireworks show is underway. Have to turn.
And if you don't, they're very loud, and hear it for yourself. But this is a very interesting thing that we don't usually do at Mount Horeb, and I wish we did, because this is.
Watch more of this show on our Wisco Radio live stream. Go to youtube.com, search Wisco Radio, and you can get a view of the rest of this. And Market halftime report brought to you by Mount Horeb's Custom Apparel Shop and Market. You've been listening to Wisco. upcoming at Portage. What a show put on by this Portage band dance team. The fireworks show. Fun to watch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the smell of it. Yes, that was pretty cool.
Always pointing out the negatives, Will.
I would say overall, a pretty solid halftime show. The fireworks were too closer than comfort with how large they were, but you know. I would say, okay, let me say my final opinion. And you could tell that the band, the dance team, and whoever sang, because that was pretty darn cool.
Yeah. For the Portage Warrior basketball team, Aaron and Ron and Tana, if you're listening, say maybe 7 years ago and saw this fireworks. And it's always fun to watch as the band marches out the field and dynamic warm-ups here, getting ready to start the half, to say the least. Mount Horeb up here 50-0. And it's been a fun one to call here in the booth as the officials back onto the field. You know, Will, we've seen a few games like this, calling these games. Mount Horeb getting off to a...
like you said, I think this is the most overall... This maybe close to it, but in the first half, it's been absolutely amazing. They've been playing amazingly offensively. I can't basically
chairs back, as I mentioned, as the officials were discussing and eating some pizza and Gatorade, drinking some Gatorade. You see too often either is hospitality for the officials. Definitely guys who spend their Friday night out on the football field. You know, you always got to respect officials no matter what sport and what level of sport.
And that last, let's say, fair, I mean, yeah, I guess that's a little important, but make sure every player stays safe in the game. I give them a lot of credit for doing what they do.
Should be about 4 minutes until I believe Portage received, so Mount Horeb have been up 50 or more, as you mentioned. His second team. We have not seen that yet this year. Usually Luke Hagelin, Winston, and the whole receiving core and offensive line, we'll see them out there for the first drive of the second half. That's what we've seen in the past. It'll be interesting what we see. Runs out on the field, decked in their white shirts and red pants.
And I would say they probably can have, but there really isn't a need. I could see why Coach Kleppe plays him, just for you can't simulate that in practice as much as you can say. Exactly what you said. We'll see what Coach Kleppe can do, and if we can get our stuff set back up, or if we need to get our stuff set back up the way it was.
I think we're pretty much good. I don't know. I think we'll with sponsors. So you can probably see me and Will on the screen. Wheels step aside and hear a welcome back here to Portage, Wisconsin, as we're getting ready here to get the second half kickoff. We'll see if it's Pertisati or we saw Tyler Dino in the Baraboo game fielding the punts and kicks. It is Pertisati and his orange cleats. Up in here, had to do a little arranging, as we mentioned, making some room for the officials, but of course they deserve it after all their hard work in the game and have called a fair one from my point of view. And one.
Yeah, when you tend to watch like the NFL or the NBA, it's like, oh, that's a horrible call by the refs, but they're really out there doing their job. And just like today, we got to respect them for what they did. They've done a fantastic job so far, and we'll see what they do in the second half. No, I have no doubt in my mind that they're not going to rig it, but
I apologize. Actually, it was Portage that deferred. I know they won the kickoff. I thought they chose to receive. They actually deferred, so they'll get the ball here. Portage keeping their first team in as far as special teams from the senior number 34. Mentioned his name numerous times. Forget it now. Apologies. Delano Shepard. He's had probably 2 or 3 solid returns. Tackled down by Cal Ross. Thank you, PA announcer. Fans filing out a little bit here, maybe at the concession stands, just since we got done with the half. Clock already running due to the 35-plus point lead. Warriors will start in MHB territory. In motion, the slot back, speed option play. Will toss it to Schultz. Schultz has got a hole, being pursued by Kai Kelscher, tackled down. The inside linebacker, Kelscher, forces him out of bounds.
It's really interesting here to see Portage aggressive than he had in the entire first half, and that all set up by a really good kickoff return.
Trying to get a little feel for the numbers out here. Looks to be, for the most part, the Vikings' second-team defense. Seeing a lot of juniors and seniors in. We'll try to sort out some names. They're on the far side of the field right now. Hand off to the fullback this time. Tackled after a solid gain by number 64, Jacoby Trainer. In at cornerback on the near side, Michael Larson, the Barneveld native. Portage picking up a first down, knocking on the door of the red zone. In motion is the slot quarterback after shortly being replaced by the sophomore Brett Walker, but Isaacson now back in. As I mentioned, coming into this one, probably missed it in our pregame. We're having technical difficulties, but Isaacson was Portage's leading passer and rusher coming into this one. So we see a lot of QB keepers, a lot of option type runs. In motion is the slot back, that's number 34, Shepard. He'll get enough to get in the zone. Might just be short of the third and short. This has got to be Portage's best chance to put it in the end zone. Note, Mount Horeb Barneveld has their second team defense going against Portage's. We'll give it off to the fullback. Did not catch a number. I believe that was Sankey. Tackled by Trainer. And Portage picks up the first down. Will, maybe a chance for them to punch into the end zone.
Yeah, I mean, like exactly what you said. Maybe a good
wishbone formation now for Portage. And Sankey will again. Sankey. It's not. Portage can still get a first down. It is 2nd and 5. First down marker would be around the 2-yard line. A solid drive cooking for this Warriors offense. Wishbone formation again. 3 running backs. A little bit of misdirection there. We'll give it to Sankey again, his 3rd straight carry. And he'll be spotted just short of the first down. This one's going by fast. We're already under 8 minutes in the third quarter, 7:40 and ticking. Portage quick to the line, trying to punch this one in. 3rd and 3. First down would be at the 3-yard line. Ahead of steam and touchdown, Warriors. First score of the game for Portage. 6, and nice if you're Portage to get a touchdown on your homecoming night.
Whenever you're down big, it's always nice for the home coach or whatever coach it is when your offense puts in a touchdown, because you never know. Maybe next week you'll be in a crunch time situation where you need to put in a touchdown.
Extra point here, nearly blocked. Will hit the crossbar and go in. Wow. That's not easy to do, hit the crossbar.
I can't say I've seen many like that, but I can't say I've seen any like that. That was probably the weirdest point after I have ever seen. But, hey, you'll take whatever you can get.
That's the weirdest I've seen in person. However, on Twitter the other day, I saw a video, the ball while no one was holding it, and it went through the extra point just ball rolling free on the ground and decided to kick it. Went through. But you mentioned not many times will it hit the crossbar and still go through the uprights. Nonetheless, Mount Horeb up 50-7 here, 7:34 in the third quarter. Back to return for the Vikings is Charlie Fish and Caden Lee. Caden Lee has been very close to the end zone. Had a touchdown called back for a hold and had another one that would have been a touchdown also called back for a hold, however tripped over his feet at the 6-yard line.
Typically when you see two people back like Fish and Lee, they're usually either fake or they actually will.
At Mount Horeb's 30-yard line. And on the return was Fry. Clock continues to tick down. By the time I look down and look back up, it might be the fourth quarter.
I don't know about that, unless you look down for about 7 minutes and 3 seconds, maybe. But
Vikings now coming out in the shotgun. Believe that's Kelscher, the senior, in at running back. Split out to Hagelin's, actually Ethan Post. It is a Kelscher. They'll give it off to Kelscher, carrying a few Portage defenders for the first down. As I was saying, Ethan Post in at quarterback. We've seen some solid throws from him, and he's done a good job on the JV level with that team. Unfortunately, losing last night, they ended up playing Baraboo due to the fact that Portage does not field a JV team. Charlie Fish had 4 or 5 touchdowns in that game. Did not play in the first half.
That ball just slipped out of Post's hand. He may have anticipated that a little bit, just a little slip, and it happens at the best of them. So we'll see if he can bounce back next play. He maybe take a shot downfield with Fish with one-on-one coverage there.
Yeah, I mentioned Fish had an 80-yard interception return in that game. Post hands it off to Kelscher on the read option. Tries to bounce it outside. Have it. No signal from the referee, and it is Warrior ball. 2 guys coming up. One wrapped up Kelscher and the other one poking out the ball. Warriors will have, solid field position here and come back out on defense.
And I didn't quite see the ball pop out there at the end, but Kelscher usually pretty secure with the ball there. Maybe had it swing out a little bit, but we're not used to seeing these Mount Horeb running backs putting the ball on the deck.
Yeah, I believe that was the Vikings' first, if I'm not mistaken, fumble by a running back. I know they had one with Hagelin and Winston on the miscommunication. I believe that was credited with Hagelin. Deep ball pass for Paul. The big hookup from Isaacson to Paul, who will take it all the way down to the 7-yard line. Gain of about 48. Warriors looking to punch this one in for their second score of the game. 38 yards. Actually, I'm right, but I think it was 48. PA 38, but I'm gonna go with my gut.
You might know a little bit better than this PA answer.
Little shovel pass here. Seam from Shepard, who will get into the end zone. Warrior touchdown. And
now it's interesting to see what happens next, because if they make this extra point, it will still be a 36-point game, and the clock will be running, but you never know. In the blink of an eye in the second half, Portage just put up 13 points, so we'll see if Coach Kleppe will keep his second stringers in or put his starters back in.
Good quick math there from my colleague Will Harrelson. Can tell he's the son of a math teacher, as the extra point is good. Miss Harrelson, my 8th grade math teacher, a wonderful teacher, as many of them are in this Mount Horeb School District.
Hi, Mom. I know you're listening out there.
I think we'll step aside. Portage catching up a little bit. Still running clock here, 50-14 in the third quarter. 4:08 remaining.
Another great run.
And of course, I forgot the video audio on that one.
Oh boy.
Extra point is through, 57-14 here in Portage, Wisconsin. Vikings up. Interesting decision there from Coach Kleppe. Unhappy with his second string team there, putting back in the first string, and then a two-play drive for a touchdown. And the Vikings up big. Once again, got that running clock back. Well, they had it, but I mean back in keeping it a two-score game for the running clock. There we go. Will's just eating some pizza over there, not really helping me out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have anything in this.
Supplying us with food up here. And Tyler Anderson is telling me that he's telling me that Malik actually has 5 touchdowns. So I was right before. I was wrong on the previous play. And now we're all just mixed up here. That's what a late start does to you. I missed the first Winston touchdown. Barely caught the end of the second one. Forgetting to turn on the audio to the live stream, and we're just all confused up here in Portage. Pertasati kicked this one away. Returned by Paul at his own goal line. Makes a juke. Jack Fryer around there. Couldn't get him, and will end up being tackled by Tyler Dino, a junior inside linebacker. Clock keeps ticking. Man, I'm running out of breath. Whew. It's been an interesting game here. High-scoring game as far as the Mount Horeb concerned. 57 points. Their highest point total so far in the season. We're only in the third quarter, although it is running clock.
And it's interesting to see how much this might add to Mount Horeb's average offensive points this season.
Yeah. Vikings always scoring up around 35 plus. We've seen a few, I believe it was 42 and 49 point games. And I forgot to check the total average points per game.
Around 42 points per game.
And at quarterback, Isaacson, excuse me, they're switching things up on me again. Isaacson had 2 solid drives. The sophomore quarterback, number 2, Walker, will be back in at the gunslinger position. And everything is just getting mixed up here, Will.
Yeah, especially me, too. I'm getting mixed up. I thought it was the 4th quarter, and it's only the 3rd quarter.
Should see our cords up here. Not much space to plug things in, and we're all tangled up. So this is a game where you go back, and if you're us, listen to it. Of course, I forgot to hit the button on the live stream a few times, so we're not going to be able to watch it and listen back on video. As a toss to Shaw, and then make some adjustments. Unable to connect to the internet early here, and that's why we missed the first quarter. Clock ticks under 40 seconds. Your score 57-14. Vikings up big. Their second team defense is who is in. Slot back in motion, handoff to the fullback. Excuse me, Sankey, not Schultz. And that should take us to the end of the 3rd quarter unless Portage decides to get a quick playoff. 2nd and 10.
I don't think they will. They'll just take it.
Yep, Portage will head to the sideline. That'll give us a chance to hear from our sponsors. 3rd quarter, 4th quarter up next in Portage, Wisconsin. Here too, we're jumping around, not actually, but they're playing jump around here in Portage, Wisconsin as we have the changing of sides. Apologies to my friend Malik Winston. 5 touchdowns on the night, announced earlier he had 3, and then I said that was his 4th, but now 5th. We're just trying to figure things out up here. But the Vikings got things figured out on the field, that is for sure. Up 57-14 heading into the 4th quarter. We'll see who's in at quarterback. Slot back in motion. It is the sophomore walk. Give it off to Schultz. Maybe a gain of 2 or 3. Pushed out of bounds. Past the 40-yard line. Vikings, as I mentioned, with their second team, Isaiah Matthews. And at corner, Michael Larson.
One thing that's interesting here is Portage is obviously taking as much time down, just like Mount Horeb will do. But Portage is one of the teams that plays with a fullback. You don't see that much often anymore.
Toss play for the slot back. Shepard trips down after gain of 2. 4th down. Portage will punt this one away. And Vikings punt team will come out. We'll see if it's Caden Lee back to return. I'd watch out. Looks to be Isaiah Matthews, as Will was about to say. Low one. Punt is a Knuckleball end over end. Matthews makes a juke, gets a big block. Wow.
Oh,
What a block there. Matthews past the 30-yard line. Did not catch the number on the block. That's going on someone's highlight film.
yeah, it is. That just a fantastic block.
10 minutes, 20 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. Vikings going to try to use all that time possible. And if you're Coach Kleppe, you're going to try to use all that entire 10 minutes on this drive.
Absolutely, and that's something I'm sure Coach will do a total ground and pound series, as the folks say these days.
Todd and Blaine for allowing us for this opportunity. Blaine got us going after us high schoolers couldn't figure out the internet connection here in Portage, as it is a handoff to look to be Kelcher.
Yeah, thanks to Blaine, because I don't know anything about technology, so if we didn't have him, I'm pretty sure we would be in trouble tonight, but thank God that we have him.
Trips formation out to post right. Kelcher in the backfield. Play action. We'll throw a screen pass. Charlie Fish, he's dangerous and he's in the open field. We'll give it to him. He's got a burst of speed on the sideline and pushed out of bounds. After a Viking first, clock will continue to tick, however, last night. And that's a guy who's just got so much athletic ability. You get him the ball in the open field and he can make guys miss.
He reminds me a lot of the former Stanford running back Christian McCaffrey. He can do about anything. Take it from the backfield and also as a wide receiver.
Post. The handoff to Kelcher heading left. Will lower his shoulders. Stiff arms the defender. Flag thrown. Did not see what that penalty would be. Wow, what a stiff arm from the wrestler, Kai Kelcher, shoving the Portage defender off him. Great move. This one probably coming back, thrown in the area of a hold. That it is.
And that's just unfortunate, because that would have been a run for Kelcher's highlight reel, just absolutely mowing a guy over.
Yeah, off season, and then as I mentioned, a wrestler as well, so gets his strength from there too. Just shoved a guy over, showing off the power. Post in the gun, Kelcher alongside him. Paulson set out to his left. Fish and Ross to his right. Quarterback keeper read option. Ethan Post makes a juke. Stiff arms another guy. Wow, that looked similar to the Kelcher one.
It's almost like they're trying to copy each other.
I don't know about that, but there's another athletic guy in Ethan Post, more than likely going to be taking over next year at the quarterback position. Will be a junior next year, so he'll have 2 years pending anything. Of course, now that I say that, something out of the ordinary will probably happen. We'll probably have... No, I'm just kidding. Ethan is very talented at the quarterback position for a sophomore, as is Luke Hagelin. Juke move from Post, as I just say that, he's got some blocks. He's got some room on the read option, makes another guy miss. He's made about his miss on that play. First down, tackled at the 30-yard line. I said Vikings try to use 10 minutes.
And so far they've accomplished that. And one thing that you said before is Post is, like, he's very, very athletic, and I think the future's bright for him. He kind of reminds me of just basically a younger and a little bit smaller Luke Hagelin. They both have a decent arm and both can run it.
Hagelin. Excuse me. No, you say Hagelin, I meant Post. The snap, hands off. And we'll be just short of the first down. Flag down at the 30-yard line near the line of scrimmage. Once again in the area of the hold. Boy, we'll have to get the penalty totals from statistician Nolan Krantz. That's got to be around 100 total penalty yards. I turned by Lee, actually 2 returns. Just those alone got to be what would have been maybe 60 more yards than what the Vikings had. In the end, though, not making a difference. But come playoff time, that's something you really need to clean up.
And absolutely, just like you said, come playoff time, the entire goal here is for both of these teams, whether it's in the future or this year, prepare for playoff time, and especially for the Vikings, who look to try to make a deep run this year in the playoffs.
Yeah, Vikings. Green play set up for Kelscher, perfectly read by the Portage nose tackle. That's number 70, Navi Singh, 6'1", 280 pounds. Great play there. Vikings almost halfway of using the 10 minutes. 5 minutes now exactly. 57-14 is your score. Post, read option with Kelscher. Bounces it outside. Able to fall forward. 3rd and long. Keeps the clock going.
Now I'm interested to see what Coach Kleppe does here, seeing if, well, hey, maybe he can give his future, what seems to be his future quarterback, a chance to throw it.
As I mentioned, not too many fans left here in the stands, as this one is all but over. Count off to Kelscher goes nowhere. 4th and very long. Vikings, I'd have to imagine, will punt it unless the punt team is not set to come out on the field. Then maybe they'll just run the ball and use all the time possible, or Coach Kleppe will take a timeout. Offense lined up, getting the play call, and I'm going to assume they're just going to take a timeout. Not sure who the JV punter is. I believe it's not Ethan Post. I think it's Pertisati. Nonetheless, Vikings will actually just take the delay game. Don't have to worry about that, I guess, up here. But clock, 3 minutes, 20 seconds. And I'm assuming, actually, I don't even know what's going on anymore, Will.
Hey, I mean, that happens to you. Sometimes you're up here so long and it gets a little stressful. After all the technical difficulties we had earlier in the game, you just forget what you're even talking about.
It is Pertisati on to punt. It would have been easier if I just said that all along.
Yeah.
Looks to be Nolan Paul back to return. Pertisati, spiraling punt, bounces at the 10, and will just barely roll into the end zone. Almost a perfect for Pertisati.
Try saying that 10 times fast. Don't actually.
However, Portage taking over at the 20-yard line, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Although the running clock, due to the fairly lack of action in the second half, for lack of a better term, this one's felt kind of long.
Yeah, it has, and we're with 2 minutes and 31 seconds left in the fourth quarter. I'm sorry, I can't see. I might be legally blind, but not really. But 2 minutes and 31 seconds left, and right now I'm sure both teams are going to take this game, put it away, and see what they did well tonight.
Listeners and viewers who have stuck with us through this one and tuned in even with the technical difficulties, I'd say maybe got a quarter of the post game. I don't even know if you guys were able to hear it, but talked about a little bit of stuff and turned out we weren't even on air. Well, we got things going, and it's been a fun 3.5 quarters of football. Now kind of slowing down here towards the end. Although I can't complain. We're in a warm booth, get to watch football, and fans are out there freezing.
I also got a slice of pizza, so you know, that's always good.
At quarterback is Walker. We'll just hand it off to his fullback. Ooh, a little late push and shove there. 2:15 left in this one. Vikings will improve to 6-1 on the year. That's your one loss coming to the very talented Wanakee team. If you ask me, that's a very good playoff resume. Got 2 more games left with Sauk Prairie and DeForest. Sauk Prairie hasn't had too good of a season this year. The Forest, I believe we're currently tied for second with them in the Badger North. So that one could be a second place game pending a loss of Wanakee. Of course, anything can happen. I can say all this I want. And actually, I'm going to pull up. But as I mentioned, that game against Wanakee, a loss. Even if you're Wanakee, Mount Horeb's easily been the team that's played Wanakee the best this season. It'll be a screen pass to Schultz. Some scores here from around the area. Monona Grove leading Milton 37-19. Monona Grove, team that went to state last year. Wanakee beating Reedsburg 43-3. That's about what Mount Horeb did last week against Reedsburg. The score of the DeForest Beaver Dam game was the final 35-7. As Portage will just hand it off here. That's kind of an interesting. Oh yeah, that's right. They lost to Oregon. Yeah, the Forest lost to Oregon. Well, I guess that wouldn't make a difference for the Badger Conference though. Anyways, still tied for second in the Badger Conference. However, a worse record than Mount Horeb. This one will be a handoff to Schultz, and that'll be the last play of the game. Coming up, I'll finish my rant on what's going on in the Badger North, but we'll name our player of the game. Don't have any stats for you. We'll get that in the pregame next week. And the final in this one, Mount Horeb Barneveld 57, Portage 14. Your next, as I mentioned, we will have our post-game report after our word.